Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. For those of you, if it's your first time here, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. I could use your support. I do put out educational videos quite often, and I hope you find this video helpful. For today's video, I'm going to go and jump into it. We're going to take a look at the Microsoft File menu. Now, Microsoft File menu, tons of you probably like, oh, I don't need to know anything about the Microsoft File menu. There's tons of stuff I already know, and I agree. If you use Microsoft a lot, you've probably, been to the File menu and set what I'm going to show you up. But I do know there's tons of people out there who use Microsoft a lot and still never went and set custom settings within their options and things like that. So a lot of these features you may not know. So when you go to the File menu, of course you're going to come up to all the info on the document itself. So you got the properties, last modified, all this stuff. Author, if you have an author, you can add authors. If you save it, it's gonna automatically add your name here, and regardless of if you're signed in. But yeah, again, you can sign in up here if you need to, or you have your account settings where you can sign in as well. Alright, so this here you can do document protection and go in and set passwords and things, restrict access to people, whether in your business, home, what have you, and add a digital signature. There's other options for check for issues, and you can also manage document and recover unsaved documents, and this will help you retrieve documents from the location where saved or where recovered documents go, which I'll show you in a minute. Alright, so you can open up a new document, and of course here, tons of features. You can search for templates, you can go through the business event, holiday letter, all those templates. Tons of templates from memos to resumes to I think there's even templates for ebooks and things. So menus, wedding invitations, there's just tons. If you can't find what you're looking for, you can always click here and actually search for it. I've used some of these templates quite often, and some of them they work for what you need them for. You can go to open, and this is where you can go through and look through and open up documents that you've currently worked on within today, yesterday, this week, last week. You can see documents shared with me. You'd have to sign in because it's more cloud-based. So you definitely have to sign in to get to OneDrive to be able to get those documents. And if you have somebody else on your account, then they can save a document and you can go and retrieve it, which helps if you're in different states, big time. If your author's working in different states and you're collaborating with someone and both of you need to edit and save it, you can definitely use that to do it. So OneDrive, this will be your location. Of course, you got to be signed in, and you can get all your documents again. This PC, this is where you go to get anything off of your PC that's currently on your desktop or a PC, your documents, downloads, you open up C drive, go to that location. And you can also add a place if you have a network drive or something. Most of the time that's a work-related task, and that's often actually already taken care of with your work-related PC, because those map automatically. But you can actually still add it here and navigate to the document within that area. You also have a manual browse, so you can browse and go through your standard old browser method for Microsoft Word. So you have save. Now, if I hit save, it's just going to go back to the document. The first time you're going to want to do like a save as, and here, again, you can choose your location you're going to save it to, actually name the document, and you can choose the file format that you want to do. So if you want a PDF, an older version of Microsoft Word, then you can, and you hit save, and you can go and browse to the location if you want again, and this brings up your basic browse location for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. Really doesn't matter. So Microsoft has a pretty standard browse setup. Alright, so you can go print, which this helps if you have a printer set up. I currently don't, but I'd save it to PDF, which is often what you need because you can save it PDF and email it should you need to. This is where you can set all your printer settings. This is a manual way to kind of get to it within the file menu because there's tons of options and ways to get to it from the ribbon. And alright, so share. You can go to share and you can save to cloud, and again, it's going to require you to log in. You can go ahead and do email, and this is going to open up Outlook, so I suggest you'll have that up. Present online or post in a blog if you have connections to websites and things where you do a lot of blogging. So you can export and change the file type right here, save it as PDF again, which that comes in very handy. That's one of the features I love about newer versions of Microsoft Office is the PDF. This really, for business related functions, this takes an entire step out of the process. You used to have to print it and go to copiers within your location, save it, scan it to yourself as PDF and things, and very complicated, unnecessary process. And of course you can close it, which I won't do because of course it will close it down. And again, this is where you would click to either see your account information or sign in. And again, you can sign in up here. Feedback. And this is where you send your feedback, of course, to who, Microsoft themselves. So, options. We can go through options all day long. Alright, so options. We'll start with the basics. General. This is where you can set your interface, personalize a copy of Microsoft. Intelligence services, so you can enable some of these services. But, of course, if you see this right here, Microsoft needs to be able to collect search terms. So, that teeters on the area of do you want them to know what you're searching for or not. So just it's all about your level, what you're comfortable with. So startup options, so open email attachments. I mean, you can set all of this. Real-time collaboration options, and working with others, of course. I want to automatically share my changes. You want it to ask you. If you do not, then it'll automatically share those without letting you know. Alright, display. So lots of display features. Of course, you can display paragraph marks, hidden text. These things are items that you can normally activate on your ribbon, but if you like to always see paragraph marks, which I know a lot of authors who do, then that comes in handy and you can actually set it to always be showing those items. Printing options, print background colors, document properties on a document. Sometimes that could come in handy. If it's a document where somebody needs to know the specifics, the size, things like that, which I never really used it myself, but I could see where that would be useful sometimes. Hidden text, update fields before printing, update link data before printing. Page display options, show white between. So again, you can deactivate some of these. Proofing. Alright, so autocorrect options, very important. You can go through and set your autocorrect options. There's tons of parameters you can set up here. Math autocorrect options, the actions that you can go through and activate. Auto format, so originals first, superscript. A lot of these settings that really come in handy if you're an author. You can set these and it'll keep you from having to go back and check corrections and stuff. So this is very useful. Alright, also on this tab you have correct spelling in Microsoft Office programs. You can order words in uppercase. That comes in handy because it lets it know that you're doing that on purpose and it's not trying to correct it for you all the time. Flag repeated words. You definitely want that. That comes in handy for me quite often. Enforce accented uppercase in French. Ignore words that contain numbers. You can also set up custom dictionaries, and as you know, you can add words to Microsoft as you go. Alright, so when correcting spelling and grammar in Word, a lot more options. Check spelling as you type. Definitely a feature that you probably want to leave on. This right here, this has changed quite a bit over the different versions, but definitely you want to check and make sure that grammar and more is checked instead of just grammar. You can also have it check your sentence structure and things. So there's some features in there that really help. Alright, and then you have exception items to hide spelling errors in this document only, or errors in or grammar errors in this document only. Alright, so your save function, very important area, probably one of the most important. This right here, auto recover information, right? Change this. You want to lower this down, because right there default is 10 minutes, and if you have a major issue with this document and something closes, then it's saving this document to this file recovery location, which is in your Word program. You can also change it to where this saves, which I always do as well. And I won't choose my desktop. I usually choose the C drive, where it's a little closer in than all the way into the folder structure for Microsoft. But this at 2 minutes means every 2 minutes it's running and saving your current progress on a document. I cannot tell you, 10 minutes is a lot when you're really moving through a document, and you could get paragraphs out within that time, and then something collapses, you didn't hit your 10-minute mark, auto save did not function, therefore when you go to recover that document, it's missing all of that work. So I suggest changing this down. It don't have to be exactly 1 minute. I always change it down to around 2, just to be on the safe side. And if something does happen, I know that if I go to the recovery location, then I'm going to get something within the last 2 minutes of me working on it. Alright, so a lot of peace of mind. I always change this with users who have stated problems with it closing before. I change that because they have lost work, and you get very frustrated, especially for those of you in school or at your job. Tons of other stuff. So you can set a backstage option, save to computer by default. You can set that. Offline editing options, you can set all of those. Server draft locations, and of course preserve fidelity when sharing this document. Language, as you know what language is, you can go and add in multiple languages, and if you're collaborating with people globally, that comes in handy because they can actually read it in their language and you can read it in yours. You can set it if English is not your first language and you want to change it, you definitely can do that. Ease of access. So make Word more accessible. This is going to be application display options, so you can actually change these and set don't show screen tips, future descriptions and screen tips. Just a lot of smaller customizations that you can do that really make the difference in your experience. Advanced, tons of options here. So you can do your editing options. If you just take a look through these, use Control+Click to follow hyperlinks. So if you ever hover over a link and it's like, hey, you have to hit Control and then click on it, this is why. You can actually turn that off, and then you can just select the hyperlink without holding Control. So if that bugs you, you can turn it off. Many other options, right? So insert key to control over type mode, keep track of formatting, enable click and type, default paragraph style, you can set it to that. Never really changed it. I'm not sure what you would change it to. If you do know, please let me know in the comment section below. I love to learn about features I don't typically use, and if they help me out, then that's great. So cut, copy, paste, a lot of different options here. Pasting between documents, so you keep source formatting. This is very important. If you find yourself that you're pasting tons of things and you keep having to do the drop down and change from source formatting or merge formatting or keep text only, you can actually set this default. And then that way you don't have to change it every time. So if you're copying and pasting and you find that you have to click that and customize it after you pasted it, you can actually set this as default, and it will definitely save you a lot of time. So pen. Pen is a great feature if you have a touchscreen. And also you can use pen with OneNote. I do suggest getting a really good actual pen, not just a stylus, because you can actually do a lot finer writing when you do, and it will change your experience with how this works. Image size and quality. So you can compress images, which I suggest doing this depending on if you're making a book and you got tons of images in it, you can compress those. You can also set your default resolution when you paste an image. That's going to determine the actual size of the image. You can change that, so if you are doing a lot of ones that need to be 400, then you can actually go and change that. Chart properties follow chart data points, so you definitely want to keep that. Alright, document content, so show text wrapped within a document window, show crop mark, show text boundaries, show field codes instead of their values, use draft font and draft and outline views, and of course you can set your naming and size, and of course you can add font substitutions. So display. Tons of display options. Quick access this number of recent documents. You can go through and show pixels for HTML features. That's actually great if you're planning to tie something into websites. And optimize character positioning for layout rather than readability. I mean, there's just tons of options in here. Print. So let's change all your default print. Use draft quality. Print XML tags. You can add in a lot of options for printing. Right here, scale content from A4 to 8.5 by 11 paper sizes. This should be set automatically because that's going to be from European to what we use in the US. Alright, so you can do PostScript over text for print options and print only data from a form. Save. And you can do, when you go to save, you can always create a backup copy. So you can set that, and that comes in handy if you are an author. You should be setting this. It will always save your backup copy because you never know what's going to happen in a different location. So preserve fidelity and sharing of this document. General, confirm file format conversion on open, and allow opening and draft data. And of course you can set an actual mailing address. Some of the last options, you have layout options for Microsoft Documents. You can adjust line height, grid height, add spaced underlines. So if that way it isn't just that close to the bottom of the text. You can go through, don't use HTML paragraph auto spacing. Again, tons of other options, and there's other options for compatibility options as well. Alright, so customize ribbon, very handy if you want if you use a lot of features on your ribbon, which is right here, then you can actually pick and choose what shows on there. Comes in very useful, right? I use a lot of different PCs, so I typically leave it default because I just find that I get used to their natural locations. So I don't typically modify that, but if I was on one PC, I would definitely go and pick and choose because a lot of stuff you may not use here, and you could actually change that out or add something or just clean it up and remove things that you just don't want to be there. So quick access toolbar, that is this right here. So this also comes in handy. You can go through and add what you want. Right now I got save, undo, redo, quick print, spelling and grammar, which is a nice shortcut right here. Print preview, which I'll show you in a minute, actually adds better capabilities for printing and lets you pick and choose, again, how you want to print. Add-ins, so tons of add-ins. I do this only really for work, but I tell you what, for like batch filing, labels, things like that, you can actually go and add in spreadsheets to Word add-ins where you have a set range of numbers equals a set amount of names, or anything that you really want this number associated with this data. And you can save this and set it up to where whenever you go and type something in, then you hit enter and it will change it to that name. It's amazing. So if you know that the number 2 equates to this product, then you can type in 2, enter, and then that automatically changes that product name instead of you having to type all of it in. Definitely comes in handy if you have a lot of number to name associations. Trust Center. Trust Center, I wouldn't go through messing with these settings a whole lot. This tells whether or not you can trust items and set macros without notifications and features set like this. I mean, there's tons of trust setups over here. Trusted publishers. Again, I would not go and change these. You can add publishers. So if you're an author and you're sending stuff to publishers, you can definitely do that. Locations. So if you got shared drive locations, you can add that as a trusted location so that you can set saves to go there, automatic recoveries to go there. Trusted documents. Again, and you will not be prompted the next time you open a document. And that's the box that pops up and gives you the option. Do you want to save this? And then it lets you know that you trust that document, or if you want it to alert you every time. Of course, there's add-in catalogs. There's more add-ins for these options, so COM, VSTO, and other require application add-ins. ActiveX settings, macro settings, protected view. And so like I said, I leave these because ultimately you want more protection. So your message bar, file block settings, and then of course your privacy options. Alright, so again, quick access toolbar. These are all your different options, and so I was saying this is a print preview, which goes through and lets you do all the settings again and without having to go to the file menu. So it's definitely an option you want added. It'll save you from having to go to the file menu and then go down to print, and you have to go through the same way. Right? It's just a quicker way to get there. You can also do this the drop down and choose other options that you'd like to have in there without having to go actually to the file menu. But alright, I think that's going to be it for this video, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. There will be more tutorial videos like this coming through, and I hope you have a good night.